Well, India is reportedly looking to open alternative payment channels with Russia at a time when much of the world is isolating Moscow over its invasion of Ukraine. Talks are also ongoing about a rupee-ruble exchange scheme that may skirt international sanctions against Russia. For more, Rebecca Bundan joins us live from Mumbai. Rebecca, what do we know of these reported financial channels between Russia and India, and would they actually flout international sanctions?
Nothing has been officially confirmed yet, but from comments that are coming through as background from Indian officials and also from Russia, it's understood that the two countries are looking at alternative payment systems to facilitate cross-border trade. This comes as there have been those sanctions that several Russian banks have been cut off from the SWIFT international payment system. So from what we can understand, what's being potentially looked at as one option is linking India's unified payments interface with Russia's faster payment system. Another option is that rupee-rouble payments mechanism as well. India's rupee card is also being looked at as an alternative. There's also talk about using the Chinese yuan as a currency, as a reference currency for oil trade as well. This comes as there's also talk of India potentially looking at increasing its imports of oil from Russia, crude oil that is. And also India is very reliant on Russia for defense equipment. There are exporters that are awaiting payments. So to facilitate all this, they would need to turn to alternative payments mechanisms. Now, would it flout sanctions? The idea is that it wouldn't be a violation of sanctions, and let's say that's why they're looking at these alternatives. But certainly it would be met with disapproval by several countries that are at the moment trying to cut Russia off.
Rebecca, just picking up on a point you mentioned, there are reports that India will take up Russia's offer of discounted Russian oil. Now, how crucial is Russia to India's energy needs?
Well, currently, it's only a low single-digit percentage in terms of the amount of oil that India actually gets from Russia. However, India is a huge importer of oil generally. It relies on imports for about 85% of its crude oil needs. And this comes at a time, of course, when oil prices are very high, and that's a massive concern for India. India, as a massive importer of oil, it means that hits its current account deficit, it hits its fiscal deficit. It affects inflation in the country, which is already uncomfortably high. It can lead to the rupee weakening as well. So this is a massive concern for India's economy at the moment. Therefore, analysts say if Russia is offering discounted oil, that could be very attractive to India at the moment. India has, of course, refused to, or has avoided condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, in comments that came out from the White House press secretary earlier this week, she said that it wouldn't actually be a violation of sanctions necessarily, but she mentioned that she issued a warning saying India has to decide which side of history it wants to be on. So that was a warning coming from the US.
And the world will wait and see what happens. Thank you, Rebecca Bundan, live in Mumbai.